Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to do a sequence using the chair specifically to soothe and settle the mind so that we can wind down for the day. And before we begin, I'd like to encourage you to hit the like and subscribe button so that not only you get to enjoy this content, but this content is shared in YouTube's algorithm to other people who are searching for inspiration for their yoga practice. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll start by using the chair, and we'll be in a standing position, but you'll be folding your chair up. So if you don't have a foldable chair, you can potentially practice a little bit differently than what we're going to do with the folded chair. And I'll just give you a very quick demo. We're going to be doing supported Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana. So you can potentially bring your forearms onto the handle of the chair like so and lengthen the spine, lengthen the back of the legs. If you're supple, you could use the seat of the chair, or you could work with something here on the seat, perhaps a bolster, if you're halfway between those two levels. But if you do have a foldable chair, turn it so that the seat is facing you, so that when you lean the chair into your body, the chair doesn't collapse or it doesn't fold out again. So I've got the handle of the chair just resting above the pubis, and when I fold forward, the handle sits into my hip flexors. So that area of the body that folds and hinges when we come into a forward bend. So we've got the feet apart. You can take your feet as wide as the mat or as wide as the chair legs, and the hands are reaching down the legs of the chair, and we start with the spine parallel to the floor. So do be clear that the chair is high up. It's hitting into the hip flexor area. It's just above the pubis. It's not down low on the thighs. We're using the chair to create more of an awareness of our hip flexion, but also to offer a level position for the hip. So we're not leaning into one leg or hip over the other. And likewise, the pressure of the chair on the hip flexors is going to help with the broadening of that sacrum and sacroiliac area. Then if you can go further, feel free to bend the elbows. And as you bend the elbows, you're folding further down. So can you keep the front body long? Now, if you find that the pressure of the seat, the handle there, is uncomfortable, you can always come up and get a blanket and put the folded blanket over the handle of the chair. But as you continue to fold forward and down, you want to find a restful position. So I've got my hands, my forearms crossed here on the chair, and I'm resting my forehead down on my hands. Now, if you're not so supple and it's difficult to find a resting position, perhaps you can come back to that original idea that I suggested with the chair set up. But as we stay, we're maintaining action in the thighs, the kneecaps are gripped, the knees are straight, and we're allowing the abdomen to relax. Feeling the spine release forward and down. So there's an elongation to the trunk. Then be conscious of your breath as we sustain the pose. Can you slow your breath down? Particularly work with your exhalations. Slow your exhalations down. So that contributes to the soothing of the nervous system, the quietening of the mind. Shoulders relaxed. When you're ready, raise the head up, place your hands on the legs of the chair and just lift yourself halfway. Lift the head up a little higher than the heart so you allow the blood that was draining into the head now to come back to the heart, and we can make our way up to stand, and just ensuring that you're not getting dizzy when you stand up. If you do find that you become dizzy when you stand up, come forward halfway again and just allow the blood pressure to settle before you're ready to come to stand all the way up. We're going to come down onto the floor now. Let's set the chairs so that the chair faces the rest of the mat, and we'll bring a blanket in to sit on. With our blanket, fold it in half, and if you feel stiff in the hamstrings, so the muscles on the back of the legs, or perhaps in the hips, or perhaps in the lower back, maybe you need 2 blankets, so you've got a bit of extra height to sit on. But we're going to sit facing the chair, and we'll bring the legs under the chair, and the feet can reach to the back legs and perhaps the crossbar of the chair. And we'll sit in Dandasana, the hands reaching to the seat of the chair. Lift the spine up as you press your thighs down. So as the spine lifts, the chest can lift. As you're ready, then let's bend the right knee out to the side. So you can catch the inner knee, turn the thigh out, pull the heel in close to the groin if you can, depends on your knee. For some of us, the knee doesn't like bending so much. The hip won't allow the leg to move back and the knee to move down. So if you need to, you can get a brick and put that in here underneath the outer shin and the outer thigh. Offer that leg some support. But if you can, you take the leg a little further back so the front of the foot and the shin are on the floor. And we're holding the chair again, lifting the chest. And we're coming into a forward bend. So start by walking your hands up the handles of the chair so that you're intending to lift the chest. Maintain the lift in the chest, the length in the front body, and then come more into that restful position. So the forearms can come onto the seat of the chair, the forehead can rest on the forearms. And just be mindful that we're not wanting to be rounding the back in an effort to come forward. So if it's a struggle for you to come forward, as I said, you can use more height underneath the buttocks, and you can use a brick or 2, or perhaps a bolster on the seat for you to reach to, so that you're maintaining length in the front body. We want it to be a restful position so that there's no strain. Then slow your exhalations down. Notice the shoulders. Can you relax the shoulders? Then as you're ready, raise the head up. Come to sit up and let's swap the legs. Stretch the right leg forward so the foot comes to press into the crossbar or potentially the leg of the chair, and then we can bend the left leg. So you can catch the inner knee, take the leg out, and I like to use my hand on the front of the foot, front of the ankle to pull that heel in really close to the groins. Then the knee, whether it releases out and down or whether you want to put a brick there to offer support, you decide. But you hold on to the seat of the chair and you lift your chest up. So once more, we want to establish the length on the front body. So from navel to sternum, be particularly aware of that length. Walk your hands up the handles of the chair if you can manage that. Go on lifting the sternum and maintain that length on the front body as you then come into your restful position. So the forearms can come onto the seat, the forehead onto your forearms, or you can use a bolster on the seat or a brick or 2. Particularly if you find the chest is dropping, the back's rounding. Then we note the external rotation of the left leg, pressing the shin, the head of the shin down and moving the left chest forward. Work with the right leg straight. So the right thigh is pressing down, the back of the knees broad. and slow your breath down. So as you lengthen your exhalations, relax your shoulders. And raise the head up. Come to sit up and stretch your left leg forward. We're going to come forward over both legs now, and some will want to continue on with the chair. Others, you might like the idea of bringing a bolster onto the shins if you've got further to fold. If you are quite supple, the hamstrings have a lot of give, the hips flex well, there's no problem in the lower back, then by all means, you bring a bolster in, put that over the shins, and you can come forward over the bolster like so. But for those of us who like using the chair, and particularly if you do feel stiff, let's keep using the chair. Hands holding the seat of the chair. I've got the feet hip width, just that allows for a bit more room here in the pelvic abdominal area and across the sacrum. And walk your hands to the handles of the chair and up the handles if you can. So you're encouraging the sternum to lift, encouraging that length on the front of the body. And then finally, you can come into your supported forward bend. So the forearms can cross on your seat and you rest the head down. Press the thighs down, broaden the back of the knees. So we're staying attentive in the action of the legs. The inner thighs are rolling down, so the toes stay pointing up. And the feet are actioned into the chair. They're pressing into the chair legs or into the crossbar. Again, we slow the exhalations down and use that direction of the breath, the slowing down of the breath, to contribute to the quietening of the mind, the settling of the nervous system. Shoulders relaxed. And as you're ready, slowly raise the head up and come out of the pose. We'll move on to a variation of Viparita Karani using the chair underneath the calf muscles and a bolster under the back of the pelvis. If you don't have a bolster, you could use a couple of blankets folded up to create the height of a bolster. I'm going to place the bolster on the floor just a little distance from the chair. That's going to depend on the length of your legs and the height of your chair, something that we'll work out when we lie down. You can have just a minimal blanket there for the head. And you might also like to have a belt just to hold the legs, to contain the legs. So let's bring a belt in. I'll put the belt on once I'm there in the pose. So that can just stay on the floor next to your bolster. But you start by sitting on the bolster and sweeping the legs around so that the lower legs come onto the seat. We'll adjust where the seat is once we've laid back. So back the pelvis on your support. And you'll see here, if I go to rest the legs on my chair, the chair at the moment is hitting into the back of the thighs. It's not quite comfortable. So I'm going to push the chair away from me enough that my thighs are on the diagonal and my calf muscles can rest quite comfortably on the seat, and the chair is not hitting into the hamstrings. I don't feel like the chair is trying to push my legs forward, which is what I felt before. The bolster needs to be under the waist and the top of the pelvis. It's not only underneath the buttocks, because if it is, then the lower back's dropping down. and I'm not able to lift my chest as well. So make sure you pull the bolster so it comes under the waist as well as the back of the pelvis, the top part of the pelvis. So then it feels like the pubis can settle down between the thighs. It settles back towards the chair rather than pulls up towards the chest. And we'll use our belt now, so you can bring the knees in closer to you, just enough that you can put the belt around your legs and contain the legs within your hip width. You don't have to bring the legs together, but just contain them so that they're not flaring out wide. Your shoulders roll under. Do make sure your blanket's in a good spot. It needs to come underneath the neck, and the shoulder blades draw under towards the bolster so the chest is lifted. And then you relax. You allow the body to rest on the support. So let's feel into the placement of the body on our props. We've got the calf muscles resting on the seat. And we've got the buttocks, back waist on the bolster. So relax the leg muscles, relax the hips, relax the buttocks. Then you might feel the back waist, the lumbar region on the bolster. Let go of the spinal muscles there. Then feeling into the upper back as it comes in contact with the floor. Relax the upper back muscles, shoulder blades, shoulders, and the arms. Turn the palms up so the arms are resting. Then feel the neck, the throat, the jaw. Let them all soften. And likewise, let the skin around the eyes, the muscles around your eyes soften. Feel the skin of the forehead soften and spread. And the point between your eyebrows also softening and spreading. Feel free to close your eyes and just allow the weight of the upper eyelid to rest on the lower eyelid. And continue to be aware of the feeling there of the muscles of the face, the skin of the face. Soften and relax completely. Then observe your breath. Just noticing the gentle rise and fall of the chest. You don't have to do anything to change the breath, but just be in a state of observation. You may wish to stay longer here, especially if you're feeling the body wind down, the mind really settle into a quiet space. But if you feel it's time to come out, then you can join me. You'll slowly walk the feet in towards you so that you can remove your belt. And then as you press your feet into the chair, do that just enough to lift your hips and push the bolster towards the chair so that the back of the pelvis can settle onto the floor. When you're ready, draw the knees into the chest a little more. You can hug the knees in for a moment, and then we can roll over to the right side. We'll just stay there for a moment. And you can come to sit as you're ready. If you enjoy practicing with me, I invite you to check out the video library on my website. With over 430 full-length classes, there are restorative classes, gentle classes, intermediate classes, bridging to intermediate classes, therapeutic classes. There's a lot to choose from. heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. You can start your membership with a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.